sides play with numbers. The House has voted twice, only 2 times, to repeal Obamacare. We have voted 31 or 3 times to repeal pieces of it, but only twice have we voted to repeal the whole thing.
Okay, what I'm wondering is, you put things like this, even if twice, vote to repeal Obamacare. Once, we know it, we know where you stand. But there was an article in The Economist 2 weeks ago talking about how the House voted to ban abortion in the District of Columbia
For late-term abortion.
for past 20 weeks. And again, this is something you know will never even be brought up in the Senate. So with all the problems the U.S. is facing, I don't understand the time we spend on these things that aren't, I don't care.
And you know what? You know what? This may seem funny. As someone who's very pro-life, I agree with you. I don't know why we voted on that day. But again, I don't decide what gets voted on.
Yeah.
So I agree. To me, this entire election is about jobs, the economy, and our debt. And that's it. We are bankrupting this country. We are bankrupting this country. What's your name? Tim. Because your politicians are cowards and they don't have the courage to do what's right, and all they want to do is get reelected, Republicans and Democrats. And yes, this president has no clue. Forget about him. But because Congress, all they care about is getting reelected. Right now, when Tim, who's 19, is 39, 20 years from now, he just looks like a smart kid. He's going to be making a couple $100,000 a year. But $180,000 now, imagine that, Tim, is going to go to the government to pay our bills right now. That's what this election is about. That's what we should be focused on. Other questions? All the way in the corner there. And then I'm coming to you. You've been so patient.
I suppose that Romney and Ryan get elected. Would you support the Ryan budget when he put it out to the public a month ago? Put all those cuts to Medicare and would you support such a budget?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me tell you why. Everybody in Washington, from Obama to Walsh, everybody knows that if we don't change Medicare, it'll be gone in about 10 to 12 years. I mean, gone. So, to not do anything to Medicare is to let it just go away. Now, the president knows that. The Senate Democrats know that. And they haven't put forth any plan to save Medicare. The Republicans did put forth a plan. I don't necessarily agree with all of it, but I give them a lot of credit for at least putting some out there, because this president didn't have the courage to talk about it. So yes, I think the Ryan plan is a great start, because if we do nothing, it's gone. And remember, I don't know how old you are. If you're 55 or older, even in that big bad Ryan plan, if you're 55 or older, nothing changes. Even Republicans were so afraid to touch Medicare. But if you're younger than 55, darn right, something better changed. Or Tim's not getting it, you're not getting it, I'm not getting it. And to not do anything about Medicare is criminal. Criminal. Shame on the president and everybody else who knows that, but they don't have the courage to say anything about it. Shame on them. You had one, sir, right here.
Yes. I want to know why has President Obama not been by now?
Here's my answer. You may not like it. Thank you. And this might be unusual for me. I'm going to try to be really good with that. This is the most important election in this country's history. Sounds like you may agree with me that respectfully removing this president from the White House is the most important thing we can do if you want to get this country going. Now, to do that, I'm going to put all my energies into helping get Romney and Ryan elected. I months, remove respectfully this president from the White House. If you believe he's a danger to this country, then you should focus on the issues. And if you focus on the issues and work for Mitt Romney, you will get him out of the White House. But all this other stuff right now isn't going to help with 3 months left. Focus on what's ahead of you. And by the way, if you love what President Obama's doing, focus on the issues and get rid of guys like me. It's not hard. Focus on the issues.
We can vote for Obama, vote for you. I did that. What are you doing for dinner? What are you doing for dinner? I vote for the people. I don't vote for the party.
Fair enough.
I don't know why he hasn't been out now.
But again, none of this, and you say that I sometimes use extreme language, none of this should be personal. I think 4 years ago, we elected, you didn't vote for this, you should not. A lot of young people got caught up with how unique Obama was. We elected somebody who was never ready to be president. And now we know it after 4 years. Focus on the issues. That's all we should focus on. Right. Yes, ma'am. All the way back. Yeah.
They are so irresponsible, that's my frustration. Because I don't know where to go to listen to the issue. I just know.
I can tell you where not to go.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, if you read the Chicago Tribune or the Daily Herald or any of these newspapers, they all have their own bias. And they don't like the Republicans. None of them do. That's okay. We know that.
I just know what my beliefs are. I'm an independent voter.
Good.
Okay, I vote for the person, I vote for whatever the issues are. And it's irritating, the press is irritating. I get so aggravated, I know that Angelina and Brad are getting married. Well, Brad is going to hell in Ancaster, and we're worried about what we're doing in Hollywood. That's the frustration. And that's where I would
Look, you're right. I would advise everybody to do 2 things. These newspapers, the Tribune is just these newspapers are rags. But what you should do is read them. You should pay attention to both sides. If all you do is watch Fox News, you're not going to learn anything. If all you do is listen to MSNBC, you're not going to learn anything. You got to listen and watch both sides. And then there are so many outlets on the internet where you can get a more accurate description of what's going on. But look, when you're a Republican in politics, you know every time you walk outside, the media's not going to like you. Mitt Romney knows that the media's going to do everything to get Obama elected. That's their job. But that's just part of what you have to deal with. You can't let it get you down. You just keep moving forward. No big deal. We have a country to save. I don't care about the media. They're like little flies. Who cares? You'd be surprised. Back in my parents' day, the Chicago Tribune made their big endorsements and people went and read. Who cares what the Tribune is? Who cares? Nobody cares anymore. Yes, sir. Hey, I never got back when we came back to that topic. You two have to talk to them. All right. Yeah. Because he said, go ahead, anytime.
A quick question about super PACs. John Kennedy statements recently held money Washington, and the issue of super PACs really influencing elections. What's your view on them? And do you see any possibility for reform of super PAC?
Do I see any possible? Oh, knowing politicians. All right, here's a politically incorrect answer. Knowing politicians after this election, they're going to try to reform super PACs. You know what will happen? Something else will happen. There'll be a super duper PACs. In 2016, there'll be a new organization called Super Duper PACs. I'm trying to be fun about this life. Here's the issue. Grow up. Everybody grow up. Money isn't the problem. Look at what your smart politicians do. Do you know why there are super PACs? Do you know where super PACs come from? Super PACs came into existence because your great politicians decided to limit what people can give candidates and political parties. So you're a rich liberal like Joe Soros, or you're a rich conservative like the Koch brothers. And now I can't give Walsh much money, and I can't give the Republican and the Democrat Party much money, so you're going to find another way to influence elections. You can't get money out of politics. And you know what? Money's not the problem. The politicians are the problem. The politicians are. If you want real campaign finance reform, here's what you do. Get rid of all contribution limits and have instant disclosure. I'm a big gun guy. If a big gun group wants to give me $300,000 because they think I'm just swell, I believe you should be able to do that. But the entire world should know about it instantly. And if you don't like the fact that a big gun group gave me $300,000, who are you going to take that out on? Me. Because you will be an informed voter. And you'll say, I don't like the fact that Walsh is getting $300,000 from a gun group. But this is hard, because this would make you have to be an informed voter. Oh, I don't like that. That's hard.
I was asking more on, do you see a possibility? Do you think there will be an attempt to reform?
I hope not. Oh, but I think there probably will be, because politicians tend to run along in a herd, and right now everybody's complaining about super PACs. So after this election, they're going to come up with their next campaign finance reform, and I guarantee you, once they do, and they get rid of super PACs, something else is coming. And then there'll be all these cries for another reform. We've got to get rid of those evil super duper PACs. And it'll just be endless. The answer is, everybody in this room has to get off their rear end and become an informed voter. And by the way, you know who makes these campaign finance laws? Politicians. Why? To benefit them, to benefit incumbents. Every time McCain and Feingold, all these new laws we pass, they benefit incumbents, make it a lot harder for challengers to run. No limits, instant disclosure. Yes, sir.
Maybe you can rationalize this for me.
A little closer.
And maybe you can rationalize this for me. The government's job, primary job, I believe, is to protect people that you said earlier. So, how come first time there's a budget crunch, the first people that they cut out are police, fire, and military?
Do you talk about DC or states?
All of them. City, DC, state, county. And right here in Elgin, the first thing you cut is police department, you know, and fire. So, what's the rationale behind it?
It's hard for me to give a rationale because I wouldn't agree with that. My concern would be yours. That would be the last slide.
Just take the Elgin, we had flower pots along the bridge, and we had two people drive around the truck to water plants, but yet we had to lay off 3 or 4 police officers.
Then I would get on the horn to my local officials and I would say, get rid of the flower pot, the 2 guys who are watering the flower pots, and keep the extra police on the street.
It's a garden for the one.
I agree. Yeah, I can just tell you from Washington's perspective, defense, like everything, there's room to cut spending. But defending this country is the most important thing the government does.
Right.
Yes, sir.
It seems like we're more interested in defending the world right now, especially if there's oil, like in Libya. That's why we're not serious with no oil.
I agree.